Since property prices are expected to drop soon and national and private debt is at an all-time high, it is easy to understand why investors and governments from across the world are leaving China, which is producing public outcry and a downward economic spiral. Since Tiananmen Square, one of the world's most autocratic nations has had one of the most powerful uprisings. Due to the Chinese government even postponing the publication of crucial information on their economic performance, it would seem that China is just like any other large firm on the verge of bankruptcy, which is why the CCP has been unwilling to divulge to the world how horrible things truly are. If China doesn't act quickly, they will face an impending catastrophe, but don't get me wrong, this will affect all of us, and the solution to this problem appears to be very sinister. So what has happened in China to make things this bad, and why are governments around the world so concerned about the solution to this problem? Well, the first reason that China is in such trouble is that they have many similar parallels to collapsing businesses. If China doesn't act quickly, it will face imminent disaster for a brief period. Number 5. COVID is wreaking havoc. COVID outbreaks have hampered economic activity across industries in a number of cities, including manufacturing areas like Shenzhen and Tianjin. Major services are under pressure because people are also not spending money on items like food and drink, retail, or tourism. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, factory activity in the manufacturing sector looks to have increased again in September. The government's increased investment in infrastructure may be the source of the resurgence. However, it did so 2 months after there had been no growth in production. And it has sparked concerns, particularly in light of a private poll that revealed a decline in manufacturing activity in September as a result of the impact of demand on output, new orders, and employment. Number 4. Beijing isn't doing enough. Beijing has intervened. In August, it unveiled a 1 trillion yuan, $203 billion, 180 billion pounds, plan to support startups, infrastructure, and real estate. But there is much more that government officials may do to spur expenditure and achieve economic goals and employment growth. This involves increasing infrastructure spending, lowering borrowing requirements for homebuyers, real estate investors, and local governments, as well as providing tax breaks for individuals. According to Mr. Kuis, the government's response to the economic downturn has been quite modest compared to what we have seen during previous economic downturns. Number 3. China's property market is in crisis. Undoubtedly, the housing sector's unfavorable attitude and weak real estate activity have hindered growth. Due to the fact that up to a third of China's GDP is made up of industries that contribute to the economy, including real estate, this has had a significant negative impact on it. People become uncertain about the state of the economy as a whole when there is low confidence in the housing market, according to Mr. Kuis. Homebuyers have been refusing to pay their mortgages on unfinished structures, and others are skeptical that their homes will ever be finished. The decline in demand for new homes has decreased the need to import building materials. Home prices have fallen by more than 20% this year in dozens of cities despite Beijing's efforts to support the real estate market. Number 2. Climate change is making matters worse. The effects of extreme weather are beginning to linger on China's businesses. In August, the central belt city of Chongqing in the southwest province of Sichuan were devastated by a severe heatwave that was followed by a drought. In a location where hydropower is nearly exclusively the only source of energy, the demand for air conditioning increased and eventually overloaded the electrical grid. Factories, including well-known producers like Tesla and iPhone maker Foxconn, were compelled to reduce their hours or close entirely. China's Statistics Bureau reported in August that, compared to the same period in 2021, profits in the iron and steel industry alone had decreased by more than 80%. Number 1. China's tech titans are losing investors. It is not assisting that China's digital giants have been the target of a 2-year-old regulatory campaign. In the most recent quarter, Tencent and Alibaba both reported their first decline in sales. Tencent's profits fell by 50%, while Alibaba's net income dropped by 50%. Tens of thousands of young workers have lost their jobs, adding to the unemployment rate among those between the ages of 16 and 24. Long-term, this might be detrimental to China's productivity and growth. Investors have seen a change in Beijing as well. As Mr. Xi's hold on power tightens, some of China's most prosperous private enterprises are now subject to more scrutiny. Foreign investors are pulling their money away from the market as state-owned businesses seem to be gaining popularity. That's it for today. Please share and subscribe.